Hi everyone, this video is on GoalSeek and how you use GoalSeek and how the function works in Excel. So what is GoalSeek? GoalSeek is a function in Excel where if you set yourself a goal, say it's to reach £10,000 profit per year in your accounts, for example, Excel will go and seek what you need to do in order to get that. But it's based on formulas connected to that 10,000 figure. So let me give you a real life example. Say in January 2020 you decide to invest £5,000 into a savings account which pays 1.5% per annum, and for 5 years, and then after 5 years that will turn into 5,386 based on 1.5%. I didn't do that in my head, did it beforehand, so that's what the figure is after 5 years. So great. But let's say you actually want £7,000 after 5 years instead of 5,386. Well, what interest rate do you need in order to turn 5,000 into 7,000 in 5 years? Now, I'm not expecting you to do that in your head. You may be able to do it. If you can, well done. But you don't need to be a maths genius to figure this out, or know any maths whatsoever. I mean, there's a hit and miss way of doing this. You can change the 1.5% to 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever percent you need to in order to get to 7,000. But, that's trial and error and it can take quite a while. That's where GoalSeek comes in. GoalSeek has a function in Excel which can do this for you in seconds. Another example could be, let's say you do have a profit and loss statement where your revenue for the year is 100,000 and your costs are 75,000, leaving you with 25,000 profit. But let's say you want £30,000 profit in 1 year, and your costs are going to be fixed, so you need to change revenue. Now these are very basic numbers, but with GoalSeek you can say, okay, well, I want £30,000 profit, and I want that by changing the revenue figure. What does a revenue figure need to be? All you have to do is click a button and GoalSeek will tell you that. So imagine that on a larger scale. So let's do an example of that so it makes more sense here. So we'll use the savings example, as that relates to every person. I'm sure everyone wants to save some money and put it away, so this could be quite handy for you in your personal life as well as your work life. So I'll put in here initial capital, so initial, if I can spell, initial capital, so that will be 5,000, and the interest rate I'm going to get is 1.5%, and I'm saving this for 5 years. Okay, now I'm going to put a formula in here which is nothing to do with GoalSeek. This is a compounding formula, if you're interested, where you can, the formula allows you to put in a savings amount that you have based on a certain amount of interest based on a number of years, and it will tell you if you were to put that much money away at this interest rate for this amount of time, how much money would you get. It's a really good formula, actually. If you're interested in knowing more about this formula, write a comment below and I can do another video on it and show you how it works. But for this purpose, it's just to demonstrate this part, and then we'll move on to GoalSeek. So just to get this figure in, so it'll be 5,000 over, let's just get this right, okay, have I done that right? Nope. Okay, and just neaten that up. Okay, so there we go. So this formula, again, I can show you what it is, but it's a compounding formula. You may already know it, but if you ever want to know about compound interest, this formula can compound interest for you over a period of time with a set rate of interest instantly. You don't have to go line by line. So what I mean by that is, let's say instead of 5 years, I wanted to invest this for 50 years. Just make that a bit bigger. So this is saying if I invested £5,000 for 50 years at 1.5%, I'll get £10,526. That's what that formula does. I can change it to 30, give me that. I can change that to 5%, it will give me that. It's pretty cool. So I can do anything I want, change any of these variables. Oops. That didn't change, and that's because that is not reading from there. A bit of a rookie mistake, but we'll change that. Here we go. And yeah, so whatever you want, that's the formula. So I'll zoom in there a bit as well. Okay, so that's the interest rate formula. Now we're using the initial example, so 5,000 1.5%, 5 years, 5386, but I want that to be 7,000. Now, what do? I want to change the interest rate. I need an interest rate that will give me 5 grand, turn that into 7 grand over 5 years. Well, I can play around with this and say, okay, well, 2%, 3%, okay, a bit higher than that, 8%, okay, closer, 7, closer, 6.8, 6.9, 6.95. Okay, you kind of get the gist. I mean, we're actually getting quite close there, so around there. So 6.965 roughly will get you to 7,000. But again, that's trial and error. We don't want to do that. So if I change that back to 1.5%, I just want to know what is the answer. And this is where GoalSeek comes into play. So I'm going to click on data, and then what if and GoalSeek. So this is saying set cell. Well, I want to set this cell here to the figure that I'm interested in. I want 7,000 is what I want after 5 years. So 7,000 by changing what cell? Well, the interest rate, which is cell K4. Click OK. Within a few seconds, well, not even a few, about 2 seconds, it tells me the answer is 6.96%, which is 7,000. Now, I know we tried 6.96% and it didn't work, and that's because if you have a look here, it's 6.9610368, etc. to actually get to 7,000, and that can work for anything. So if I did GoalSeek, I want to set that to, let's say, 8,000, and this time I want to change the capital amount that I invest. Click OK. That's telling me I need to invest £5,714 today for that to turn into 8 grand over 5 years at this interest rate. And if that was 1.5% manually, that would be 6,155. I can change the goal, so you can say, well, actually, I want that to be 7,000 by changing the interest rate. So that will be 4.14% this time because I've got £5,700. So that's the GoalSeek. So it's a pretty interesting formula, very useful. That's what it allows you to do. Now, I can automate this a step further. So let's go back to the original. Okay, 5,000, 1.5%, 5 years, 5386. Now, the one thing, I can keep changing this. So I can say, all right, so let me do the example again. GoalSeek, what if set cell that to 7,000 by changing what, 1.5%. Okay, gives me that. But what if I wanted to change it to 8,000? Well, then I'm going to have to do the same thing again. I have to do GoalSeek, set cell K8 to value 8,000 by changing this interest rate. What would I need there? It would tell me 9.86%. Say I wanted 9,000. I'd have to keep changing that if I'm trying to, play around with numbers. And that can be a bit tedious after a while, having to go to what if, GoalSeek, blah, blah. Well, there's a way you can automate this, and it's to do with macros. Now, we haven't gone into details in macros. I'm not going to do that here, but just a quick overview. What a macro is, it records whatever you're doing in Excel. It literally records step by step any actions that you take from the moment you click record to the moment you click stop. Really useful. It's written in a code called VBA. You may have heard of that. It is a coding language in Excel. You don't need to be able to code in order to do a macro, as I'm going to show you right now. But it's a very useful formula. It's great if you've got, say you've got a repetitive task, something that you do every single day, every day at work. Instead of rewriting formulas each day and doing whatever you do each day for this task, you can actually create a macro, and a macro can copy all the work you do once, so the next day you just have to hit a button and the macro will carry out everything that you need to do. So it's quite useful, but I'll show you how that works here. So let me record this macro. So if I go into view, macros, and record macro, so I'm going to record my procedures over here. So we're going to call this test 1. Click OK. When I click OK, everything that I do in Excel is going to record itself in the background in this macro. You won't see it being recorded, but it's being recorded. So I'll click OK, and now everything's being recorded. So I'm going to do a GoalSeek again. So data, what if GoalSeek set cell that there to 7,000 by changing cell K4, click OK. Comes to 7 grand, 6.96%. Okay, now I'm going to stop the macro. Now, if I go into the bottom corner here, this is where the macro is recording. It says the macro is currently recording, click to stop recording. So I'll click stop there. And now I'm going to go into that macro. So if I go into view macros, test 1, step into it. And this is my Visual Basic editor, and this is the actual code. Everything that I just did is all here. It's actually just this part. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail with macros, but this is the actual line that's carrying out the goal seek. So I don't actually need all of this. So I'm going to delete that. Now this is saying select range 8, and I want you to goal seek, look for 7,000 by changing cell K4. That's exactly what we did, set cell K8 to 7,000 by K4. So what we want to do here to automate this is, I want all of that to happen, but that 7,000 is that figure that I keep changing, so I want it to be 7,000 or 8,000 or 9,000. So I'm going to change the 7,000 to a cell reference, and this is what I mean by that. So I'm going to say goal here. I'm going to put 9,000 there just for argument's sake. So this is my goal. Whenever I want to do a goal seek and I type in I want 7,000 or 8,000, 9,000, all I'm going to do is change the number in here and then run the macro. So this cell is K6. So if I go back to my editor, I'm going to change that to goal seek equals range, open brackets, K6, I think it was. I'm just going to double check that. Yeah, K6. And there we go. So that range there is actually selecting that cell, and I'm going to close this simply by clicking close there. Okay, now I am going to run the macro. So if I go to view macros and click run, hopefully this works. It looks like it has worked. So it was so quick you don't see it, but as you can see, I've set my goal to 9,000 based on an interest a capital amount of 5 over 5 years. It's 12.5%, 12.47%. Let's say I change that to 15,000. I want that 9,000, that 5,000 to become 15,000 over 5 years. What interest rate does that need to be in order for that to happen? So I'm going to view macros and run my macro, and there you go. It tells me exactly what I need to do. So that's what I've done. I've actually recorded that whole goal seek step into a macro, so it saved a bit of time. Now I'm going to take it a step further to save slightly more time by creating a button. So if I click that button, it will automatically run that macro, and this is really simple. All I do is insert a shape, any shape whatsoever. Let's just go with this, some random shape here. I can, if I wanted to, I can edit it. I'll do a little bit of editing. I'll do that. Okay, so this shape that I've created, I'm going to assign my macro to this. So this turns into a button, and I just have to click that. And I simply right click, click assign macro, test one, and now that's turned into a button. If I hover my mouse over it, you can see there's now a hand with a finger on there. So that indicates that this is a button. So if I change that to, let's say 35,000, that's my goal. I just click this and it changed to 35,000. That is goal seek. That is a macro as well. So you've kind of learnt two things there. Hope that makes sense. If you want some more information on that, and you want some tuition on how this works even further, or you need some tuition on anything else in Excel, link in the description to our website. Send us a message and we can give you some more information. But thanks for watching.